A woman's mind. I dance to that song and I don't sing the chorus, and then I dive out of that boat, hit my head on a rock, and break my neck in 3 places. Consequences. By October 4th, 2002, I've been in a cervical stabilization device, known as a halo, for 31 days. Imagine what it's like to kiss someone. How close your faces get, and then that pause. All of that potential energy on the verge of kinesis, the electric jolt of intention, knowing what is to come. Think about how you tilt your face to meet the lips of the other person. The dance around the axis of your neck as your mouths move against each other, the tip of a tongue against teeth. The lap of a labial frenulum, the small folds of skin like wet anchors holding the lips in place. And really, you're rarely face to face, more side by side, laterally mirroring each other, a thumb on a cheek, palm cupping the nape of a neck, fingers tugging on a handful of hair, stroking an earlobe. See how your bodies strain against each other, wrapping around one another like strands of DNA. I am in a cervical halo. There are 2 pins in my forehead just over my eyebrows, and 2 more behind my ears. They were screwed into the bone of my skull to act as anchors, to hold the halo ring like a crown around the circumference of my head. 4 metal support bars attach this ring to a rigid plastic vest that I wear tight against my chest, like plate armor. This is all to maintain the fixed position of my head and neck, holding me immobile. I can't shrug my shoulders or turn my head, can't lift my eyebrows or even smile too wide without feeling something tear or pinch. Now imagine what it's like to kiss me. And I'm gonna take a sip of water because I'm getting dry. Are you imagining? It's kind of weird, right? Now imagine what it's like to kiss me. How careful he has to be. His movements so small, his touch a suggestion, his body suspended above me asking, is this okay? Does this hurt? No, I tell him. Even though maybe it does, because I can't stop myself from responding to him. Instinct forcing me to follow his lead, making me cry out. Easy, he says, pulling away. I can't help it, I tell him. I can't explain how ravenous I am. How maybe my hunger, it doesn't make sense, even to me. Don't stop, I say. I close my eyes as I watch his face lean into mine, feel his breath against my cheek as he whispers, no. When I open my eyes to see what the problem is, say, what's wrong? He tells me that he wants me to kiss him with my eyes open. I can't imagine why he would want this, why he would want to see how I look. And I can only hold his gaze for so long. It makes me feel weird, I say, resisting the urge to wipe my face. Fine, he says. I watch as he brings his hand to his mouth to lick his fingers. Like one of those. And my heart jumps. I force myself to look in his eyes as he slides his hand into the waistband of my pants. Staring back at me, he says, what about this? He finds the wet space between my legs. Is this weird? He spreads me open to get at the wetness inside. No, I say, my cheeks burning. Keep going, I tell him, please. A pussy is like a mouth, even in the naming of their parts. Uvula and vulva, labia, labial frenulum, clitoral frenulum. I stare at him as he runs his fingers across the lips of my pussy, finally closing my eyes with a gasp when he plunges first one finger and then another inside me. He fucks me with his hand, and it takes me a minute to realize that I can move around this mouth. My hips aren't locked into place like my head and neck and shoulders are. I grab his arm and use it as an anchor to twist myself against, careful to keep my upper body still, catching glimpses of him watching me, his eyes never leaving my face. And as much as it makes me uncomfortable to be stared at like this, to be pinned in place, there's something about it that quiets me too. I am here. I am this. I am okay. Thank you.